we can see here some examples like so many big companies are using the MongoDB. So before MongoDB was named as MongoDB, it was named as TenGen. So after TenGen, it became MongoDB in name. And we can see here there are so many big leading companies in the world. They are using the MongoDB for database or management system. And also this NoSQL database is really takes very less time than the normal RDBMS for querying out the data. So the database, wherever it's handling a big, very huge databases, that time taking less time is really a factor. So in that point of view, NoSQL is really very quick database than normal RDBMS. Now there are so many types of databases in NoSQL also. NoSQL stands for not only SQL or NoSQL. So here we can get, apart from MongoDB also, there are CouchDB, Cassandra, HBase, Node.js, like so many DBs are there. So they are also being used according to different requirements. But in the NoSQL also, we are getting 4 types of database. 4 types of database in the sense, first one is the key value, second one is the graph database, third one is the document oriented database, and fourth one is the column family. So there are, in the NoSQL also, there are different types of structure, and according to the structure there are different types of databases. So MongoDB is like document oriented database where we are mostly dealing with the documents. So now we will see that what exactly the comparison of RDBMS and MongoDB in comparison with the structure. So first, if we see, we can see here the database. So database is the collection of tables in the RDBMS. Similarly, database in the MongoDB is the collection of a number of collection. That means the structure means table means the schema where we are storing the database. The same thing in MongoDB we are doing with the collection. So we can say the table or view. View is also the schema in RDBMS. So this is the same thing, or concept of collection is same here in the MongoDB or NoSQL MongoDB. The row, wherever we are assigning the row, the same thing here comes with the JSON and BSON type. So this is a particular database type or file type that MongoDB is using to store the database. If we see the columns, the same thing here is called field. Now, if we see the index in RDBMS, the same thing is in MongoDB also. So index is a concept. If we keep the index in any database, then it will help us to get the data quickly. So that index concept is both in the RDBMS and MongoDB. After there comes some join concept. So in the relational database, the concept of join is there. Joining is nothing. Actually, this is when we need to get some data from a number of tables, we are using the join concept. But the same thing can happen in MongoDB also if we have a number of documents. So then we are using the concept embedded document. So join concept is completely not here in our NoSQL, but it is same thing as the embedding documents. Foreign key, if we see, foreign key is the concept that's the particular key from the other database, or if we see in RDBMS, foreign key means suppose a particular table I keep a foreign key. So foreign key means it is the primary key of the another database where there is the relation between the two tables, or foreign primary key of the another table. The same thing here comes with reference, and in the RDBMS, whatever we are calling as the partition, the same thing here as the threading. So partition or threading is a nice concept in database management system, which is partitioning the data in a different system. If the memory issue is the concern, so it is actually the internal part of the database management system. When you are installing the database for any specific task, so its internal daemons are keep on working on particular managing the partition or threading. Now if we will see some samples to write a database. So when we are going to create a database in the document in the system, first we have to create the documents and collections. So collection means that's a table. So here we can see that when we are creating the collections, that will come or saved in this way. Now suppose in the database management system, so many applications comes like creating a documents, after that searching out. So if I have a very big database, the searching option is the most important thing, and every day in internet also we are searching so many things, suppose in any web applications or in online shopping applications. So searching will be there obviously. So when we are searching out, we need some query also. That means in which thing we want to search. Suppose I want to see the employee name which has or who from the department particular production. So there will be a number of queries. So in normal RDBMS we are using the SQL structure. So SQL is also a language which we need to use for that. But in our NoSQL we are using some functions like given by that particular database, like DB user find one. So here I want to search out one particular documents there where the particular employee or the particular person has the age 39. So I want to search it out with this particular basis. Now we will see the CRUD. So CRUD is the very basic particular applications, or you can say the very basic things in the system. If we deal with any database in respect to NoSQL or RDBMS or anything else, there can be 4 basic options. So first one is the C. C for create. So we must have to create first the documents or the collections within which we will keep our data. So that is also same in RDBMS also. Read means finding out or querying the data. So I have a number of data. So from there I will going to query, means I want to see some data from my existing database. So that's called read. Updating is also a most important thing. Suppose any data I need to update. So obviously I have to update in the same existing collection. So for that in MongoDB we are using the particular command db.collection.update. So when we are using the read command, then we are using db, that database name, the corresponding collection name. Sorry. And if we want to insert any database, insert any particular documents means here the set of data. So that time we have to give collection, in the collection the insert data. Save the data if I want to save it and update it. Now similarly if I want to remove any data, so there we are using db collection remove. So here also some examples. Suppose I want to insert the data. Insert the particular documents to this collection. So first we are giving db. db is the database where we are keeping a number of collections. So when I am assigning or when I am going to insert some documents to a collections, first I have to mention my db name. If I using that current db, then it's okay. After we have to give the db.username. User here is the collection name in which collection I am giving the data. So here I am using, we can see here that the first name, first is the John, last is Doe, and the age is that one. Now I am finding out. So whenever I am inserting the data, after that we can see when I am finding out the data, it's got by default a ID. That means MongoDB is giving primary key to each and every documents as an unique, which in RDBMS we have to give it manually. After that, suppose I want to update the data. So for updating I am using that set options and I am just adding the age, and along with this I am giving the salary. Now after, suppose if I want to remove the data, so when I am removing the data, obviously I have to give some particular query which in from my number of data or documents which is going to be removed. So there I am giving first after that character J, that means which is starting with the first name J, that is going to be deleted. Now let's discuss some features of MongoDB, for which very reason MongoDB is very popular nowadays. It's very agile and it's very scalable. So agile means the MongoDB we can use very easily, no complex things are there, and it's really very scalable in case of database. So first thing is that it's a document oriented database. So it's keeping the data or storing the data in a form of documents. After that, it has a index support. After, replication and high availability is one of the most important thing in any database management system. So replication is the concept where we are replicating our databases or our data. So this is a very real-time things which we need to do, that replications we are doing for getting for the high availability. If one particular server is crashed, if we can get it from the other server. So availability is one of the most important thing. When suppose we are searching out any particular things from a online shopping store, so then from the database, it's as soon as possible it need to quickly retrieve. For that, high availability is needed. Auto threading is there. Auto threading is that MongoDB supports the auto threading. When I am storing the data, it will thread the data according to its requirements or size to different servers, but the user is unknown to it, means it will keep or manage the thing so efficiently that whenever we are querying any data, it will just take it and show according to our requirements. After querying, so we can if we check, see or compare with SQL, that MongoDB is taking very less time than the SQL for querying out the data. And also it's very easy to update, and it's keeping very less time, and it's also have the mapping or reduce. So that MongoDB is supporting the data aggregations also. So data aggregation is one of the concepts here. Same types of data it's keeping in a different place. So when we are querying any data, so it will take very less time. So here are some examples of replications we can see. So in our server, we can see that we have the three hosts. So they are replicating the thing. So replicating means the same copy of the database is stored in the every server. So if one server is going to crash, so from other server, client will get it, but client don't need to bother about from which it's coming, but it will be there. If any server is crashed, then other server can retrieve or show the database. That is the basic concept of the replication. So if we use the replications, or suppose if anything else going to failure, so zero downtime will be there. So maintenance, so that means the performance of the database is obviously very high, and also if there will be the consistency if there will be no downtime. And also its MongoDB has the zero special features. Now if I see the threading also, so we can see in the threading partitioning the data and scale write throughput, and it's also increasing the capacity. So in the threading we can see that in the database is stored in a different host according to the different partition, like thread 1 and this is one thread 2. And database MongoDB is managing that one by itself. So client is getting the data from that particular thing. So in threading also we are using that horizontal scaling out, and if we see there will be some keys and based on threading, and it's also Mongos is we are using for threading out the database. And now here also we can see if we have using 3 hosts in one thread and there is a number of other hosts is there, so client is getting that one from the different types of threading databases. And there is another concept in MongoDB is that is mapping the reduce. So this is mostly we are using for aggregating the databases. Now if we see the other features in the MongoDB is really, as it's a open source, so it's very easy to get it. And second one is that it's very easy to install and use, and it's compatible with every OS. If we install it in Unix or if we install it in Windows, Linux, so anywhere else we can install it. And the another thing is there in MongoDB, it's using a different types of APIs. That means it's using Python, Ruby, Perl, Java, or the other things, C++, hash like this, and obviously it's a open source. And here, if we see the theory of NoSQL, so that's we can say as a CAP. CAP means consistency, availability, partition, tolerance. So in MongoDB also we can see it's using some many nodes. Nodes contain replicas and partition of the data. So node means that's where we are using the replications and partition of the data. Consistency, all replicas contain the same version of data. That is called the consistency and database, and it's very needed when we are replicating, because there should be the same types of data or same things in the each and every replications or replica. So that's the consistency. Availability also should be every time high with any server downtime. So this is also one of the most important criteria in any database. So now also in NoSQL we are getting it. And partition tolerance. So if we have a multiple entry points and system remain operational on system split also, that means it's tolerating the partition. And here also in MongoDB it's supporting all these things. So that means it's very compatible database to use in any format where we are mostly dealing with a number of data, or where within a seconds we need to query a number of data. And there is another concept that we can say here, like a ACID. ACID calls that's atomicity, consistency, isolation, and durability. Similarly, if we see here we can say it the same way, that basically available and soft state, eventually consistent. And now if we see that the features of MongoDB, then why we are going to use the MongoDB, because it's a very simple query. We don't need to bother with a complex query like SQL. It's very simple queries are there, and MongoDB itself written in C++. And there is no schema concept. That means what? No fixed schema. We can enter a different types of attributes. Means if one document is, suppose in one document there is a 5 attributes, the second document is a 2 attributes. So there is a mixed data concept. So we can use mixed data. After, it's very compatible with almost the web applications, and it's really very easier and faster to integrate. But it has the one limitation. NoSQL is very good in case of where we need the auto-threading, aggregations, or high availability replications, all the things, and where within a fraction of seconds or within a very less time we are going to querying the data. But it has one limitation, that it's not very good for the transaction. Transaction is one of the concept in RDBMS, and mostly this transaction concept is very important in case of banking systems. So if we see in banking systems where transactions are mostly needed, their RDBMS is the best performance or best database to use. But NoSQL normally don't support the complex or heavy transaction system. So in this scenario, it has the limitation over RDBMS. But apart from that, if we see, MongoDB is very nice database in this particular place where the easier and faster data integration is needed. Anyway, so